Sir, could you please turn that off? It can interfere with the plane's navigation system.
Do you really believe that? Because people have been talking, you know, outside the flight attendant social circle of trust, and, word is that nobody really believes that.
That was a clip from The Darkest Hour, where you will see some of the douchiest characters ever. I mean, Jesus Christ, the dialogue in this movie. If you can get past all the cheesiness of this movie, you can actually learn to appreciate the story and the concept. Welcome to the alien sci-fi survival apocalyptic movie, The Darkest Hour. As I like doing in real life, and now I'm going to try and do that here, let's review this movie in the and then format. There are going to be a lot of details I'm going to skip past, so if you guys want to enjoy this, go and see it yourselves. The story starts off with two main characters, Sean and Ben. These two are best friends, and they're on their way to Moscow to sell their new app in development. Sean is the messy one that never can get anything done, and it makes me really wonder how these guys became friends, but they tell you afterwards in the end of the movie it's because their mothers forced them to play together. So yeah, the douchey jockey one is the one that never allows the other one to do anything or get any work done, but yet they end up going into business together, which is totally a good idea. Then there's some foreshadowing of them meeting an American girl in Russia, because that matters a lot, that you meet somebody American in a foreign country. I could totally understand that, you know, because they get the culture and whatnot. When they get there, they find out that Ed, aka Skylar, is already using their idea. And he's like, we don't need you anymore, guys, we're good. Took me a while to realize who he was. Of course, the first time I saw him, I didn't really care because I didn't really watch him in anything else. And then I watched For All Mankind, the show, and I'm like, oh my god, look, it's Ed! And he's a total asshole in this movie.
Well, what the hell's going on here? Looks exactly like my idea.
It's very good. It's almost perfect, thank you. Next time, you send an NDA.
You must mean the non-douchebag agreement.
Oh my god. Honestly, I'd be laughing too, because everything that comes out of that guy's mouth, not the bad guy, but Sean, is just total cringe fest. I mean, I have my moments, but Jesus Christ, this guy's is like the entire movie. Not very good at the one-liners when it comes to normal conversation or dissing people. Understandably, they're angry, and they meet the American girl and her friend at the club. Right then, as they take a picture, the lights go out, and this was foreshadowed because in the plane, there was a short. Wonder what that could mean. When everyone goes outside, they see what looks like the Northern Lights, but, you know, not exactly like the Northern Lights. And they're like, oh my god, it's beautiful. I wonder what this could be. Because, you know, no one's thinking it's aliens until it's aliens. The other thing people notice is that none of their electricity work. Any electronic device, it does not work. So everyone wants to take a picture of this thing, and their phones are all completely dead. Not like the battery ran out, but just like the entire thing is dead. And then these floaty petal-looking things from an anime start falling from out of the sky. They start multiplying themselves, and everyone's just staring there because, you know, humans are curious, and not one person thinks, you know, it's kind of strange. I might want to be inside, not knowing what the hell these things are. We're not in some kind of Disney movie, but they just keep watching these ethereal dandelions float all over the place. And of course, you can probably guess what happens next. The very thing that everyone thinks is so beautiful and so jaw-droppingly breathtaking lands right in the middle of them, and somebody has to bite the bullet and go stick their thing inside of it to see whether or not it's a nice thing. The only thing is they can hear it, sorta, but they can't see it. You know, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, why would you go up to it and, like, why don't throw something? Anytime I see something that I don't know what it is, I throw something at it. I throw a stick at it to see how it reacts. There is no way, shape, form, fish scale on this freaking planet I'm gonna go up to something that I don't know that could be potentially dangerous and not put some space between me and that thing. I don't even want the thing I'm poking it with to be attached to my hand. But this guy didn't get the memo.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Hey, come on!
While everyone's running for their lives, Skylar, the douchebag guy, runs after his date and she finds one of the aliens. And what does he do? The most noble thing. He locks her in there and watches as the poor thing, scared to death, gets her neck wrapped up and gets the kiss of death. She turns into a freaking ash. I was gonna say tray, but that's probably insensitive. Our two main characters and the two main characters' girls get locked in the kitchen. Or actually, they lock themselves in there and Skylar just happens to get in there with him because, you know, the bad guys always gotta prosper. They start arguing amongst themselves and one of the guys that they rescued ended up dying from his injuries because he lost like a whole arm. That was nice of them to try and save him, but that was a lost cause. Now he's just sitting in there fermenting with the rest of them. I'm just saying, it's been what, a whole weekend? They ran out of canned food really quickly. All these boxes in front, I'm assuming that they're all filled with food and like in a matter of almost a week, every single one of them just, wow. There's 5 people, I get that. You know, each of you could live on a can of beans a day. I don't think people were rationing. They end up going outside and everyone's dandruff flakes are flying all over the place because that's the remnants of all of mankind. No life anywhere. Everything just seems like a ghost town. Weapons are strewn everywhere. You can tell that people try to put up a good fight, but it was all for naught. When you have something that can instantly turn you into a pile of dust, it's a little bit hard to fight against that. Now they have to get supplies and find other survivors as well. All the time our main characters are running and I'm just thinking to myself, you know, they can't see these things. Are you not paranoid that you're gonna run into something? It's not really realistic. I know they're paranoid, but you know these things are invisible and you're running pell-mell. Seems kind of irresponsible. They find a way to detect these aliens later on, but at this point in time, they don't know that. But they're still running and making a whole lot of noise as they do. They don't know if the aliens can hear them. Anyway, they meet a Russian woman and ask her for directions. I'm just thinking to myself, oh lady here, where did you get did you have a random stack of bricks in your basement? And does everyone in this country just have the knowledge to be able to spread spackle all over? Okay, whatever. I'm not even gonna front because in Russia, people are a lot more hard than they are in this country, just saying. We've gotten soft in the United States. Now our feelings are torn to shreds when someone just looks at you wrong. This is around the time in the movie where the stupid stuff starts happening. The stuff that makes me wonder, okay, at what point did people decide that the plot could just take a break and stop carrying the entire movie? Because some of the things here just don't make sense. From what we see in the aliens' point of view, they can see heat or electrical impulses or something, clearly. And these aliens are sort of kind of intelligent as well, or maybe not, who knows? My dogs are kind of smart. I mean, very smart. Some of them more than others. But I know that if I run into a room and we're playing hide and seek and the dog doesn't see me in the room, but the dog knows I've gone in the room, she's gonna check everywhere. She's gonna run back out first of all, like an idiot, and then she's gonna think, wait a second, I saw mommy run in here. Let me go back through, wait a second, the door. She's probably behind the door. And they check behind the door. If I cover myself with a blanket, my dog knows I'm under the blanket. My dog even understands the concept of having to dig her nose under the blanket to try and get at me. So, the two main characters see a police car. They make a run for the police car to try and get a map. A poor dog lets them know where the alien is. They didn't even see it before this point. And if that dog hadn't been there, these guys would have been dead. That part I wasn't really feeling because you know how I am with animals. So after that sad sacrifice, this guy with a face that looks like a box full of crayons is like, oh crap, that thing's coming. And the alien sees him.
Do you see it? You see anything?
Right there, the alien sees him. And why is the other guy asking if he sees anything if they're invisible? Why would he see anything, bitch? Do you see anything? So the alien clearly sees that, there's something that's behind that car that's like the other things that I've killed that has the same kind of signal. Let me go over there and check it out. It's behind the car. You cannot tell me these aliens aren't smart because the alien could have walked on the side of the car or could have walked around. But no, it was smart enough to walk on top of the car. So if these little things decide to hide on either side of the car, it could see on either side. You can even see it checking. Shit. Why would the alien also make itself known? Like, doesn't it realize that by doing that, you give your position away? Jesus Christ. As it gets closer, electric stuff starts going off. That is how people can tell. And I swear to goodness, when the plot needs it to happen, the aliens move slower than molasses. They move slower than flatulence when you're in public and trying to squeeze it out very slowly so other people can't hear you. We can assume that the aliens don't hear or smell people per se, because these guys are always loud as hell, and that doesn't seem to really matter. They slide underneath the car, conveniently, and you can see the alien checking either side of the vehicle to see if they're there. Okay, so the alien gets the concept of checking around an area, right? Okay, so Mayu, tell me why, when the alien goes over the car and doesn't see anyone, it goes on the floor and just keeps going. It gets the concept of checking on either side of the car, but not checking underneath the car? Not just that, but when it walks away, for crying out loud, it just keeps going and doesn't think to even look back. From what I can tell, later on in this movie, these aliens are in what is the equivalent of like a freaking hamster ball or something, so you can turn that thing a whole 360 degrees, and you couldn't look behind you when you know that, oh, okay, just... freaking plot convenience, I tell you. Jesus Christ, it's heavy with this movie. I was half expecting the thing to come back, but no, it just kept on going its merry way and forgot to look behind it, while these two idiots just keep staring at the car's crotch. While they're hiding out in the mall, they discover that, oh my god, if you hide behind glass, they can't see you, these things. How convenient.
Wait! It's the wind! Stop freaking out!
Well, me? I'm the only one freaking out here.
Wow. Something I don't understand. Okay, you can call this guy a douchebag, but seriously, some of his actions can be seen as annoying from the audience's point of view, but in real life, this is the kind of guy I would want. Someone who's on full alert, but not manic. I think this is a perfect situation where you're totally allowed to freak out, if I may say so myself. Aliens that you cannot see, that if you touch them, even by accident, you turn into a can of dust. They will give you your one last wish and spread your ashes for you across the planet. Oh yeah, by the way, did I mention, again, you cannot see them. So I think Skylar's reaction here at something that happens to look just like when the aliens are chasing you or the aliens are in the vicinity, I think his reaction is totally warranted. The girls confront him later about what he did with his date and how he let her die, and he's actually really real for a second. You don't see a lot of movies really cover this, but he basically explains that everyone says and thinks they're something until they're in a situation and they realize they're somebody completely different. He probably knew if he hadn't have closed that door, that thing would have come through. And who knows? If he didn't sacrifice that girl, they probably all would have been dead. Or maybe not. Hindsight's 20/20, but you know, survival of the fittest. At least one thing I'll give the aliens is that it's a quick and painless death. Well, maybe it's painful, but just for a split second. I would take this alien ash death over drowning any day. They figure out that electronics or electricity or things that use electricity is how you can detect the aliens are near. Electric things light up whenever the aliens are in the vicinity, so they all wear the light bulbs around their chests. They go to the embassy, which is no good. Remember, these are Americans that are in Russia, so all they can think about is wanting to get home and possibly finding their families if their families are still alive. Why is everyone looking at him with such condemnation? The guy acted on the drop of a fucking dime. You all would have been dead if that was a real alien if he didn't have the gun to distract it. Holy shit, man, the condescension is real with these people. He aimed it front, right, and center. As scared as he was, he went into action, and now he didn't even, I was scared he was gonna actually kill one of them, but he didn't. The whole time he kept the gun steady and aimed it right in the trajectory where he thought that thing was gonna come down. And he started from the bottom and went to the top. That is a man of action, and honestly, he deserves a bravery award. These people don't deserve him, man, I swear to God. They end up finding a message, but it's in Russian, and we know that it's gonna be very important. So just like in RPG, the group has to find the person at the next quest to interpret the message before they can proceed. And then they notice that Skylar is outside because he saw something. If you saw something, why wouldn't you let the other group know? Skylar ends up redeeming himself when they go after him. He gets trapped by two aliens and sacrifices himself. The only reason these two went after Skylar in the first place is because he knows Russian, and they need him to translate the message that they just got on that little radio. He dies a hero. They make a guess that it must have been what Skylar saw, those lights across the street to a building.
Что черта вы здесь? Вы что, хотите сдохнуть, придурки?
We saw the light.
Why would you immediately go into threatening someone? This girl is friends with the guy who turned the light on who's in a Faraday cage so that the aliens can't readily see him. He says later that he turned the light on to attract survivors, to bring them to him, just like he did her. This girl knows that. So why on earth would you be threatening people who are answering the light and coming, which is exactly what the guy did to attract you and other survivors? What the fuck?
Next time, knock.
Bitch, did you knock? This is the fucking apocalypse. What the fuck? For all we know, there's no one there. We don't know if these aliens can hear. I mean, by now we know they can't, but still.
Are your parents here?
Her parents? She looks almost as old as you do. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Am I missing something? Because to me, she looks like 17 to 19 years old. I don't know. But she's not that. I mean, she's a freaking tall-ass chick. Must be one of those things you have to be there to smell the person to get what age they are. I don't know. That's why men fall into trouble. Always ask. I'm 17. When's your birthday? Tomorrow. Should be fine.
FBI, open up!
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
Turns out this guy's a homemade genius. Not only is everything inside of his frickin' house or apartment Faradayed up, but he also made an alien killer gun. The aliens are like wavelength looking things, so he made a microwave gun to kind of kill, tranquilize, whatever. My thing is, okay, these girls have met this guy who knows exactly how to hide his signature or electrical signature from the aliens. So when this girl goes out to scavenge for goods, you'd think that they'd put a piece of metal up by the window, since, you know, they've been doing this for a long time, or she's been doing it for a long time, so that maybe kind of sort of the aliens can't see you from the freaking street. That would have been my thing, automatically. Or even just a piece of glass, because you've already proven that that works. I mean, you've been staying with this guy for at least a little while to get acquainted with him, Winky, to know how to hide your electric signature. You know, you'd think, especially being that she said she did this lots of times. And then when they notice that the alien sees them, they look all freaking surprised. The blonde chick wants to go back to the cage, and the girl is telling her friend to go in somewhere else because they have a place to hide. She's like, no, I'm gonna take my chances with the cage. I mean, I don't totally blame her, but you can imagine how things start to go downhill from here very quickly. Then when they get back inside the Faraday cage, oh, would you know, the door happens to be jammed. So there is a way for the alien to come in, and they're no longer safe in this place that they would have been completely safe from. Why is it always the bitches, man? Why is it always them that mess everything up? They think fast and go behind the glass because they're like, okay, the alien's coming, so we're not even gonna tell the men what's going on. We're just gonna, you know, hope for the best. This guy gets his microwave gun. He sprays his microwave gun, and you can see, like, the manifestation of the beams right there. And the alien doesn't like that at all. What a genius!
We did it! Keep firing! Hit it again!
Why would you stay there all that time? Like, you know, this guy never learned. You're a Russian, man. You're supposed to know this. You keep killing it till it's absolutely dead. You load up the next one just in case. You know, what if there was one behind it, my dude? You know, when I'm spraying an insect with Raid and it doesn't die right away, I spray it with more. The thing is drowning in a pool of poison by the time I'm done with it. And if it's still not doing its job, I spray even more Raid on it. Then I get a piece of, like, super soaker tissue, and I spray that with Raid, wrap the insect up in it, so that there's a pool of Raid around the insect, but also inside of the little tissue thing. It's basically drowning in the juices, and then I squish the insect inside the tissue, then put the tissue in the toilet, and then spray some of the toilet with Raid too, so when it flushes down, it's not just pure water flushing down, it's water and Raid. And then sometimes, if I'm feeling skippy, I'll pour down some alcohol down the freaking toilet too. You make sure! If there's one thing I've learned from apocalyptic movies, you always double tap. I swear to goodness, they spend the rest of this movie carrying around this microwave gun and never using it. They made some other people who were in like these metal things to, I guess, trick up the monster as well and to probably hide their signature, but it's clearly not doing its job because you can see the man on the horse right there and the other guy right there. So what exactly is the point of avoiding these things? They antagonize it and wait for it to charge up its stuff, which is so convenient because the alien decided to sacrifice itself by charging up its little lightning thing instead of just running into all of them and instead incinerating them like they do with everybody else. But no, the audience has to see these people be badasses. And we have to demonstrate that the alien has a weakness. That when it's charging up its thing that takes a ridiculously long amount of time to do, it's weak. And you can actually like scar it. So the alien put itself in a situation where it knew its enemy had projectiles that fire faster than it can fire its projectile, and made itself weak on purpose so that they could get a chance to wound it. So, you know, that makes total fucking sense. So now they see that they can be wounded. Their armor has broken off. And not one point did anyone decide to use the microwave gun. This is going to be a thing after all. Like, I get it. They probably don't know how to use it. But there are several times after where they could have used it. And then we discover that they actually knew how to use it all along. But they just decided not to for some godforsaken reason. Another wonderful example of this is when these Russian soldier-looking dudes or mercenaries decide to escort these guys down to the station so they can go to their home. They're like, you know what? You guys should stay with us as long as you need to. Like they have a frickin' choice. It's the end of the world, my guy. But they were really nice, and they're like, yeah, you can stay as long as you want to. And the Americans are like, no, we need to go home. But I can't blame them because they have families there too. So as they're going through the subway, the girl that looks like she's old enough to be kinda sorta similar in age to the other girls gets frozen in fear, and Ben has to go and help her. Ben is the logic person. He is the one who designed that app. He is the one that can be the voice of reason, and he takes the gun, the microwave gun that's supposed to hurt the aliens, off of his neck so he can go and save her. It's feeling around, and he's like, you know what? Let me take the gun off of myself so I can go and grab her. And right as the tension is going, where he had enough time, he's like, come here, I gotcha. Can you guess what happens next? Of course you can. Of course you can, because movies like these are so predictable, it's painful. He dies. He gets sacrificed and he died, because, you know, he had the gun on him and he was like, okay, instead of actually going out of place, because you could have gone. The thing is right there. It's in the room with you. You can't see it, but its electric thing it's going all the way back to itself. You can see where it is. But no, let me take the weapon off my neck that I'm carrying that can actually have a chance at killing this thing, so I can kill myself. Whew, the first time around I watched this movie, I was not this upset. I must have been really tired, because the second time around watching this, or actually, wait, this is the fourth time, I think. Yeah, the fourth time watching this, I'm like, god damn, now I'm really awake, and now everything looks completely stupid. They get to the boat because they have to get to the submarine. That's what the message was saying. That's what the girl told them the message said. And they find out that the aliens are actually paving the earth for minerals because they're made of metal, so they probably need all of our metal stuff. I guess the asteroid belt by Saturn wasn't enough. They probably came from another direction. But like, I know Earth is full of metal, but like, it just made me wonder, these aliens are pretty stupid because there are so many other planets in our solar system alone that are rich in metal and minerals as well that don't have the complex alien life that's going to give them resistance that they could have gotten their shit from. But no, they headed straight for Earth. Great job. Anyway, a building falls down because they're mining near the place, and then the guys get pushed off the boat. He doesn't even tell them what's going on. He just grabs the girl and goes. I thought this was so messed up because you could have told the guys, they're standing right there, hey everyone, duck, but he doesn't say that. He just grabs the girl. Well, Natalie, the girl, is nowhere in sight, and they're by the submarine, which is basically an undersea Faraday cage. And they're like, look, dude, I'm sorry about your girl, but we gotta go. Like, we can't risk our lives just for one person. There's other survivors out there. And he's like, no, everyone counts. I must find her, because, you know, that's the way we do things. Not like you're gonna know whether or not I'm dead. But then we find out that the Russian comrades decide to help him anyway. Now they have 2 microwave guns, because the guys in the submarine were able to look at the first model and see how it was made and make exactly the same replica. Annie's on one of the buses, and now they decide to use the guns. I think it's important to say that the gun was jammed before, but for what I know, it still had batteries. It's just that it was jammed, so they could have used it before. But now this one's jammed again, so now we can't use it. And the aliens are so kind to this movie. They take their sweet time coming after people. Like, they've rushed people before, but no, they take their sweet time so the guy can get his gun working. He's backing up and the alien's moving very, very, very slowly. And even when he's on the ground, the alien's like, okay, I can't hold off for too long. I gotta do this long enough for you to get your shit working. Hurry up. Are you ready? Come on. I'm almost there, guy. It's not even moving at this point. We know the guns don't do anything to these creatures. It's not even moving at this point. It's literally just on top of him, waiting for him to make its move. Like, it's over his body. It's close enough to suck his peen, and it's just standing there, or hovering there. He's still struggling, and they're shooting their guns, and he's doing nothing, and then they're like, oh, okay, now I can get it working. And now the alien's like, thank you. I wanted to die so badly. Thank you for saving me. And he has to tell the others to shoot their guns, like, For frick's sake, dude. I swear to goodness, like, some of the people in these movies. Anyway, he finds Natalie. They take care of the other aliens. The alien gets on the bus, even though it can't see through glass, though, right? So how is it that it couldn't see through glass, but now, conveniently, it can see through glass when she's on the bus covered in glass? Sure, okay. Mind you, the doors were closed and everything on the bus. The bus doors were made of glass. The inconsistency in this movie is just freaking making my cheeks rub together. Our main character shoots it with a microwave gun, and then it's like, okay, I don't have a gun or something's not working, so let me just take the armor that's in my bag and throw it inside of the alien, and then the alien explodes because its armor gets caught inside itself. And mind you, this entire time it was on the back of the bus. I don't know why it decided to stay back there and not advance even when it wasn't freaking out. So it just uses electric things and uses it as slowly as possible, even though it can clearly see where they are. They get to the submarine. Natalie finds out that her mom is alive, which is really cool because usually their families are dead. She's really happy. This guy's parents are probably dead, you know, but whatever. And they all live happily ever after. The end. So I don't remember this movie being as bad as it actually was, but the concept was pretty cool, and I really do remember the aliens. That's the one thing that stands out for me, the designs for the aliens. There was some pretty cool concept art for this thing, and the movie itself wasn't horrible. There was so much stupid about that movie. Like, all the decisions that characters made could have been avoided, but that seems to be the trope of these movies. But it will always stand out in my mind because of the design of the aliens and just the prospect. You don't really see a lot of alien movies where the aliens are falling down like little Disney fairy petals to the ground. So that was different. Anyways, that was The Darkest Hour. Apparently, there's one called The Darkest Dawn, which I don't think is completely a sequel, but kind of is. I don't really know. And my nose is closing in on itself, so I'm going to go to the forest and try to stuff my poor little nasal cavity up some rabbit's ass. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Ulturi. Oh my god. You ask, we answer.